I attended the world's largest immersive Warhammer 40k narrative event by Games Workshop. I interacted with dedicated organizers and cosplayers in well-decorated rooms. I was surrounded by over 100 other players who really bought into creating an epic narrative campaign. I really didn't know what to expect. How would Games Workshop take 100 to 200 people playing nearly every faction and tell a cohesive story? I've never participated in tournaments or other events before. I'm Matthew from MiniWarGaming, and I love narrative wargaming.
We got one on the board, everybody.
Sure, I'm a competitive player, but what really gets me inspired is diving deep into the lore of the games I play and finding a way to tell epic tales and create extraordinary experiences. Since my first ever narrative campaign that I published back in 2014, I have created over 50 more story-driven campaigns, each focusing on telling narrative-rich stories in the universes of Warhammer 40k, Age of Sigmar, and many others. This has always been my passion. Ever since I was a kid playing Legos with my younger brothers, or playing Battletech and role-playing games with my business partner Dave. However, over this past year, I found myself struggling to be inspired. When I saw that Games Workshop was putting on their first large-scale grand narrative event, I knew I had to check it out. Well, that's not exactly true. First, I spoke to two people who had to be on board. The first was Dave. He was immediately on board. I was more worried about the second person.
What's this for?
Just smile.
My beautiful wife Holly would be left behind with our adorable, yet very busy 5 children while I gallivanted off to New Mexico. She was immediately supportive, although as expected, didn't look forward to being left alone with our motley crew of crazy children.
Booty shake. Booty shake.
So I clicked on the link, bought my ticket, and then immediately booked my flight and hotel room. I grabbed my Tyranids and build my crusade force. Rapid fire Xenos lore. Tyranids are an alien race of space bugs united by a hive mind with a singular drive to consume all that is before them. They're similar to other bug armies such as the Arachnids from Starship Troopers or the Zerg from StarCraft. Back to building my Tyranid force. I added in several more Carnifexes, a group of Tyranid warriors, a swarm of Hormagaunts, a Broodlord, Neurothrope, Zonethropes, a Lictor, the Death Leaper himself, and a lonely Biovore to rampage across the Sabrine system, the location of this narrative event.
Well, I've arrived at the airport, like 4 something in the morning.
Thanks to a flight change I didn't choose, I had to leave my home at 2 a.m., drive to Pearson International, where I would fly out to Dallas, Texas, and then fly over to Albuquerque, New Mexico. The hotel slowly filled with Warhammer players, all bright-eyed and eager to participate in this event. I was surprised by the number that showed up in cosplay. My excitement for the event grew even more as I saw that I'd be playing with a lot of narrative enthusiasts.
Enjoy the grand narrative.
That evening, we had our first narrative briefing. What I wasn't prepared for were the 3 faction commanders that walked in full cosplay, dedicated to stay in character through the entire event. First, there was Zach, who led the Chaos Forces as Kron the Beast. Then there was Fred, or General Athnar Castragain III, the leader of the Imperium forces. And then finally, there was my leader, Iltalek Starblade, Eldari Corsair Captain, played by Elle, stoic and proud as an Eldar should be.
We shall soar back into the deep void and away, leaving the crude Monkey to face their destruction at the hands of the ancient foe.
Elle did a great job making us all feel superior to those filthy humans and chaos warmongers.
It's fine, we're taking a video right now. Kind of moving around. Oh, we got a guy in the background.
Hey-oh! It's like Guavesa running behind us.
Smile, it's a picture. Hi.
With the briefing done, and after some socializing with a lot of excited wargamers, I headed back to my room and promptly collapsed on my bed and slept surprisingly soundly that night, because I'm a bad sleeper. The next day I woke up well refreshed from a good night's sleep, had breakfast with Skari, and headed to our morning briefing. Oh yeah, Skari went as well. Since we were both playing Xenos, alien-esque non-humans, we were on the same team, ready to take on the forces of the uptight Imperium and the warp-tainted chaos.
Are you prepared to strike against the Monkey today?
Our Eldar leader gave our morning briefing, handed out our extra objectives that we needed to achieve regardless of whether we won our games or not, and then sent us off to our first war zone, the Sermona Magnificat.
Welcome. Please enter the Sermona Magnificat to the glory of the God Emperor.
This is awesome.
My first game was against two opponents, Eric and David, playing Deathwatch and Imperial Fist, as there was a bit of an imbalance in the number of players. Old One Eye and his forces fought hard and broke through the Imperium lines.
David, 13! It took more firepower to kill these 20 Hormagaunts than it should have. And you also killed 2 warriors and injured a zone throw, but that's it. Forgot to take a video of how it all ended, but the Tyranids just crushed through the Adeptus Astartes.
The Emperor's might foresaw this terrible outcome, and yet the Imperium itself lives on.
Of course, we'll see.
My second game was against Nicholas's Ultramarine forces, staged in Talikar North, a jungle-themed war zone.
And round 2, 50 power level of Tyranids led by Old One Eye against Nicholas's Ultramarine forces. And in my first turn, Hormagaunts charged across the table, killing 3 infiltrators. Okay, a little fast forward here. The Tyranids win!
Again, my Tyranids prevailed, having gained a taste for Space Marine flesh. It was at this point that I started to worry that maybe my forces were a little too strong. Being a narrative event, I wasn't that interested in crushing my opponents in every game. Sure, I want to win, but not at the expense of my opponent's enjoyment. The next day saw the arrival of the finalists for the Age of Sigmar and Warhammer 40k tournaments, as well as some stunning armies on parade. Having made videos about Warhammer for about 15 years now, it is wonderful to see how far the hobby has come. The accessibility of great tools, paints, and models has allowed more and more people to create epic-looking armies.
My third game, I got my Tyranids at 100 power. We're going up against Sisters of Battle, led by Gavin here. Sisters went first, moved up a little bit, shot across, and actually killed 4 warriors and injured a zone throw. Feeling pretty good about that? Okay, let's see what happens when the Carnifexes start advancing across the table.
Gavin sure helped me with that. By the end of our game, both of our armies were almost totally annihilated. But because I completed the mission objectives, the Tyranids still claimed a victory and completed stage 2 of 3 of the Tyranid Crusade invasion. It was time to start consuming the planet.
Round 4. We're in Lambda North. I'm about to head to this table to fight this gentleman.
I faced off against Ryan and his Crimson Fists.
Tyranids are overrunning the Crimson Fists. More Space Marines for dinner.
I realized a little too late, and within 2 turns I destroyed his forces. Nice. Ryan, of course, was a great sport and showed no signs of being annoyed at me. While this pushed my personal goals of consuming a world closer to completion, it once again left me feeling uneasy that my choice of army composition might ruin some people's fun.
It's the final day of the narrative event. I've just got to say it's been super awesome. The missions have been fun. Everybody's a good sport, win or lose. So we're about to go have our final battle. And so we'll see how that goes for the Tyranids.
The final day came, and my suspicions were confirmed in our morning briefing. In walked Orator Jonas, but he looked much different. His skin was purple, and his eyes radiated an almost alien look. He announced that he was no longer Orator Jonas, but instead, from henceforth, would be known as Magus Jonas.
This is Magus Jonas.
Ah, yes, this shrine is now a sanctuary for the children who worship the 4-armed Emperor. At that point, the Star Children arrive, and we shall be taken to paradise.
In our open arms, of course, and not in our mouths. Don't listen to anybody that says that.
Good luck.
I love the idea that not only did we have these actors that would stay in character and provide the extra level of immersion, but that they would go as far as to adapt their characters to match the results of our games.
The battles have been difficult, and we did suffer losses. But look at what we have taken.
Heading off to my last game, my final opponent would be Corbin and his Black Templars. I had to work hard to complete my crusades. I was determined to find a way to even the odds so we could both have fun. So I took 3 of my Carnifexes, roughly 1/4 of my forces, and put them in reserve so that they wouldn't show up until later. I warned Corbin that once they showed up, all hopes of victory would be lost.
Warlord on Warlord. We're gonna do the Warlord fight first. I ignore that on a 5. I ignore it. And re-rolling. 2 wounds left. So if I roll 3 5-ups.
3 5-ups.
I stay alive.
The Emperor will.
No, you got him. On a 6, he gets mad at you. No, he's not mad. He understands. That was worth 6 victory points right there.
Yeah.
It was a hard-fought battle, but Corbin narrowly managed to destroy all of my characters, which was the objective of this mission, before my final 3 Carnifexes tore through his lines, killing all before them. I lost the game 48-44.
He killed all my characters in like 1 or 2 turns.
For the Emperor.
But it was probably the most fun I had in all of them.
Victory for the Imperium. So awesome game.
Awesome game, man.
And that's what I love about narrative wargaming. It isn't about winning. It's about working together to tell the best story possible. No story is interesting if one side never has a chance and loses in the end. We all want to see the underdog come back, or good win versus an overwhelming evil. And that's what I witnessed happen over and over again between many of the players at the event. Now, maybe you're wondering, did I complete my Tyranid Crusade objective? I'm happy to report that even though I lost my last game, I gained exactly enough biomass and crushed resistance points to complete my crusade.
All packed up. It's Monday morning, getting ready to go down and have some breakfast, check out, and go to the airport and fly home.
What a fantastic experience. Getting to interact with so many narrative wargamers, but especially getting to know the members of Battle Group 16 more each day was a touching experience. They were goofy, they were funny, they were dedicated, and they were nerdy, and I loved them for it. So did I get what I was looking for? Well, not at all. I wasn't expecting to go to an event that would not only rejuvenate my love for the wargaming hobby, but that would inspire me and motivate me to jump right back into narrative gaming when I got home. In short, I felt seriously inspired, and I think that was the point of the event. Mike Brandt, the man responsible for this event, told me that he was hoping that this grand narrative would show the wargaming community that not only could we hold organized tournaments on a regular basis, but also narrative events as well. We all love miniature wargaming for different reasons, but I can't help but think that most gamers love it because of the setting. The lore of the gaming universe really sets the backdrop for the games you play and the armies you love. So where do we go from here? Well, you'll be seeing some more narrative campaigns for MiniWarGaming, that's for sure. But we'd also love to try to run some immersive narrative events at the MiniWarGaming bunker. A big thank you goes out to everybody involved in the event. Thank you, Zach, Fred, and Elle, for dedicating yourself to countless hours of makeup and prosthetics. Thanks to all the room runners, behind-the-scenes workers, and of course, all the gamers that showed up to participate together in this grand narrative event. I can't wait to participate in the next one.